everybody. What's up? Welcome to the show. It's Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. It is Rick Kamla. We have Dr. X, Phil McDonald, down in the lower left, foremost radiologist in America. He created this, the X-Rated Sports Network. And we have Dwight Walton as well, Canadian basketball legend, TSN correspondent. Dennis Scott's going to drop in a little bit later. Brandon Armstrong is going to drop in a little bit later. And we probably have some guests and some unpredictability as well. Fellas, let's dive in, into the Nico Harrison stuff. First, a shout out to all the veterans. It is Veterans Day, of course. Shout out to all of the veterans and a bunch of love and blessings to all the veterans who have served, who are serving, who will serve, the men and women going back decades and centuries and all that stuff. The sacrifice and the service to us and to everybody, to planet Earth, specifically the United States of America, is very, very, very appreciated. We're thinking of you all here today. Now, on Veterans Day 2025, we may remember this as the day that Nico Harrison finally got let go by the Dallas Mavericks. That happened today. It's huge breaking news. That's where we're going to start the show. ESPN reports he's been fired. It was announced just a little while ago. The decision was made after a Tuesday morning meeting between Harrison and team governor Patrick Dumont. And Dumont said in a statement, "This decision reflects our continued commitment to building a championship caliber organization, eye roll, one that delivers for our players, our partners, and most importantly, our fans." Assistant general managers Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi are going to take over for Nico on an interim basis. Dumont, hey, he was finally at a game Tuesday night. It was the first game that he has attended. It's his team. First game he attended since opening night when they got drilled by the San Antonio Spurs. The Mavs blew a 13-point lead in front of Dumont last night to the Bucks and fell to 3-8. The fire Nico chants were happening throughout the game, specifically in the fourth quarter. Cooper Flagg did play well last night. Best game so far with 26. But this comes like a day or so after Tim McMahon reported the relationships completely disintegrated between Dumont and Nico. And it's a matter of when, not if, that Nico will be fired. A day or two later, it's official. He has been fired. I'll give you my take here in a minute, guys, but let's go around the room and bring in Dwight and bring in Doc. And Doc, I go to you first. Fair to fire Nico or not?
It's I would say it's fair technically because the team isn't producing, but I think it's unfair in the fact that they haven't given a full time to see the vision through. So in terms of the timing, I think it's unfair. I think you have to look at AD's not back. Kyrie barely played any time with AD before he got hurt last year. Cooper Flagg is still trying to figure it out. Jason Kidd is trying to figure out new lineups. Gafford is in and out of the lineup. Lively's in and out of the lineup. You just have so many things going on. I would wonder why, they would just fire him now versus like just wait to see, let this year play out at least and see how they're doing. There's a lot of new faces as well. You have someone like D'Angelo's role. Najee Marshall was doing really well last year, had like one good game since starting back. Klay Thompson is a shell of himself. And so I'm not sure if that's fair to fire Nico because a lot of the major pieces that would have made them a championship contender were out. So I just think it's unfair in terms of the timing. I think if they fired him off season next year because they just continue to do that after everybody's been back, then that makes more sense to me. But I would say he probably would need until next year to really see how his vision is playing out.
Dwight, how about you? Fair to fire Nico?
I've been on this train ever since this news from the last year's trade of Luka Doncic up until the news today. It's totally unfair what's happening with Nico Harrison. And of course, none of us are truly going to know the truth until Nico himself comes out with some sort of book, some sort of memoir many years down the line. He's not going to say anything right now because he doesn't want to alienate himself from possibly getting some jobs in the near future here. But I think he was told to make that Luka Doncic trade just prior to last year's trade deadline. He was then put out in the force field, if you will, having to answer questions from the fans, from the media alike, from everybody that was in his way, up to having 24-hour-a-day security to protect himself and his family. This has gone wrong from the beginning. There's no way Nico Harrison makes a decision to trade a transcendent player like Luka Doncic on his own. This definitely had to be a collaboration effort from ownership all the way on down to the coaching staff. No chance. So for him to be fired now for a decision that upper management, or more specifically ownership, made, then to have him as a scapegoat makes this completely wrong as far as I'm concerned. And then you, to Phil's point, you add on all the injuries, all the stuff that has happened on the basketball floor. Yes, there is some silver lining in regards to the number one pick for Dallas and Cooper Flag going forward, but injuries to Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Daniel Gafford, the list goes on, and then the uncertainty of Jason Kidd going forward. Everything that has just transpired with this Mavericks franchise, I think Nico Harrison was made out to be the scapegoat. I think it's wrong. Klay Thompson is a complete shell of himself. I don't want to use the word washed, but it's getting pretty close to that state right now. So everything is piled on. I just think it's easy to Harrison in this situation. My books, it's completely unfair for the Maverick or Harrison.
This is not fair. I agree with both of you. Nico had the Mavs cooking. They were in the finals. They weren't supposed to be in the finals. They were in the finals ahead of schedule. Nico was the not the only architect of that guy, but he brought in Kyrie Irving, okay, which I thought was a huge move. Remember with Joseph Tsai in Brooklyn, like that whole thing unzippered, and a lot of people around the league were looking at Kyrie some kind of way, and Nico stuck his hand out. Nico paid him, okay? And so Nico made it right with Kyrie. Nico got Kyrie's train back on the tracks, all right? And then he blew a tire now, with the injury and stuff like that. But Kyrie and Luka went to the finals together. Nico put that together, all right? And then a new owner came in because Mark Cuban, if Mark Cuban doesn't sell the team, we're having none of these conversations. Luka's still a Mav. We get that, right? But Cuban did what he had to do. And they kind of duped him, right? And it was, what I remember, it was kind of like a wink, wink, kind of like gentleman's agreement. Yeah, you're still going to be in charge. No, the second Cuban sold that team, they blew him out. Now you're just a fan, bro. Now just sit over there in the corner in your courtside seat and root on the Mavericks. That's all you get. Nico did not try to trade Luka. He did not trade Luka. Patrick Dumont traded Luka. Okay, this is completely unfair. That anybody, Nico, human being XYZ, unfair for anybody to be put into this spot, be absolutely scapegoated and tortured publicly for several months in a row. Okay, hearing an entire arena, and I don't know if you guys have been down to Dallas for a game. They call it loud, rowdy, and proud or something like that. I had a Mavericks fan try to kick my butt while I was on the air for NBA TV after the 2006 NBA Finals were over. I'm hosting the post-game show, and I got a Mavs fan, bleep you, and he just foaming at the mouth, big red face, huge beer in his hand. And we got done with the segment, and I asked the stage manager, what is going on? She said, that guy wants to kick your butt, and he wants to kick David Stern's butt because he felt like, the NBA rigged the finals with all the free throws by Dwayne Wade. I've been down there. I understand the angst. That is 1/1,000,000th of what Nico Harrison has experienced, okay? And so I'm happy for Nico. Nico, you're free. Okay, go on vacation, spend time with family. I don't know if you've got grandkids, but, go to your daughter's house in Ohio and just hang out there for a little while. Live your life, bro. Move away from basketball just for that long. decompress. Okay. And hopefully he's able to do that. Hopefully he's able to find peace. I say this a bit sarcastically, but also with some truth in it. Nico should actually talk to an attorney about possibly filing suit here for trauma, ill treatment. I don't know, something, right? They treated you like garbage. So why don't you just hire an attorney and try to take a bigger bite out of them on the way out? I don't know, just an idea. The owner can't fire himself or herself. They need a scapegoat. And Nico is that scapegoat. Go ahead, Dwight.
You know what, Rick? I said this off air just prior to us going on air here. And again, it may be far-fetched. It may be a very hot take. But it wouldn't surprise me if Nico himself went to management and said, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I can only take so much. I do understand that when you sign up in this business, you are hired to be fired, in essence, essentially. So I understand that part of it. But I am not going to put up any longer with me and my family having to absorb all of the vitriol that is coming towards us. I don't know if it's still in connection right now, but to have 24-hour security around my house and wherever I go because of a trade that I didn't make, not the face of it, but I have been made the face of it. And get out of town, man. Leave. Take your family. Be happy that you're no longer a part of an organization that puts you on Front Street because of what. Live your life. Go on vacation. Take your family away and just be happy for a week or two. I know it's probably cool, depending on the age of his children. I don't know if he's married or not or has kids. I don't know that. But other than that, get out, man. Enjoy your life because it's totally not fair. Again, none of us will know the truth unless you read reports out there that Nico Harrison indeed was the fan. But there's no way ownership allows Nico Harrison to make that consulted about it. They have to agree on it. And there's no way Nico Harrison did that on his own. No chance.
So here's more evidence of that. Because some people may be like, yeah, you guys are wrong. Nico traded Luka and it was all. No, you have to understand the process here. Okay. And I don't say this condescendingly. I'm trying to say this in a very helpful way. There is no GM in the history of basketball who has just made a trade involving a huge player, maybe any trade, but especially a huge player, without getting the blessing of ownership. It never happens. Okay. And a GM may sell the owner on a bad trade and the owner may agree with it. And so things can go haywire and stuff, but these GMs are not acting they're not acting in a silo here. Okay. Here's proof, guys. This is what Patrick Dumont said about Luka's conditioning after the trade. Quote, in my mind, the way teams win is by focus, by having the right character, by having the right culture, and having the right dedication to work as hard as possible to create a championship winning outcome. Quote, if you're not doing that, you're going to lose. Okay. He goes on. If you look at all the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, they worked really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be a part of the Dallas Mavericks. This is not firing up anybody, Patrick. This is just ticking off a lot of us because it's gobbledygook, okay? And by the way, that's a bad insertion of Shaq, and I love me some Shaq. But Shaq did not work hard every day, okay? He worked hard, but every day, no. That did not happen. So that's a swing and a miss on the analogy right there. Why was Kobe so pissed at Shaq? Because he didn't work hard every day like Kobe did. Patrick, if you were really a hooper or a hoop head or a hoop boss, you'd know that. But you don't because you're a half-ass hoop boss, okay? He goes on. That's who we want. I'm unwavering on this. The entire organization knows this. This is how I operate outside of basketball. This is the only way to be competitive and win. If you want to take a vacation, don't do it with us. Boy, I can't wait to get in my car and fight traffic, go to work for Patrick Dumont in that warm and fuzzy work environment. Are you kidding me right now? That guy traded Luka. Nico did not trade Luka. Nico has been dragged through the mud and scapegoated. And that's all I got to say on it for now, guys. You got anything else here on Nico getting let go by the Mavs?
I mean, are they going to rehire him once the Mavs start doing well next year? That's what sucks about all this. Is like, if the Mavs have any modicum of success in the next 2 to 3 years, are they gonna give credit to Nico? You know what I mean?
Of course not.
Yeah, of course not. But we have to keep it honest and at least mention his name if that happens. But it's just unfortunate. I just feel like I understand why they fired him. I just think the timing is horrible, and this would have made a lot more sense. Not even this season, but next season. I just feel like Cooper is just figuring it out, and Jason Kidd is just doing his best with what he has. And so it's a process of time. And if they weren't caring what the fans were going to say and what they said after, why all of a sudden does it matter now? And you have reasons why they're playing like this. It just seems like they were waiting for the opportunity to let him go. They already had planned to let him go a long time ago.
But Phil, can I ask you why do you understand why the Mavericks
No.
fired him?
You can't ask me that.
But why? Why do you
Well,
understand it?
it's because of the record. It's because of the losing streak. It's because of losing in the fourth quarter when they should have won at home. It's for the little kid wearing the Lakers jersey and the Mavericks. It's for the optics. It's the optics. That's literally it. But the optics, for the casual fan and for the Maverick fan that wants him fired, it makes sense. But to us, the timing is horrible. The timing is horrible because we know on paper the Mavericks were contenders. The Mavericks were contenders, and then we didn't even know that Cooper Flag was going to end up there, and that just happened to fall in their lap. So we're just like now the runway, because at first it was just like, yeah, we're okay with getting short-term success. We're totally okay with short-term success, and we know the Lakers will eventually be good, and they'll have Luka for years. And if he gets healthy, great. If he gets lose the weight, great. But we want the short-term success and to stay within our culture guidelines. But then on top of that, they got Cooper Flag. So I just felt like at this point, you're in it for the long haul. You just got to respect Nico's decision. And as you guys were saying, it wasn't really Nico's decision. It was Nico's idea. But it wasn't his decision. It was the governor. I don't even know what that means because I think there's only one team that has a team governor. But so I just feel like it's the timing. It's the timing is horrible.
First
But
of all,
I get your point.
first of all, this wasn't Nico's idea. No way. No way in hell. Secondly, Kyrie Irving, Daniel Gafford, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson's poor play. Kudos to the Golden State Warriors for having the foresight to understand this guy is finished. They saw him every day, and there was no way they were going to pay him. Those four factors don't count. Those are major rotation players. It's not Nico Harrison's fault. He put the team together. Those guys can play. They got to the finals just 2 seasons ago. Granted, Doncic was on that team. I understand that. But when you make a trade and then you have a team and they haven't played together at all, this firing, there is no timing for this firing. Let this season play out. Then make a decision. Not now. Not now. You're 3-8 because Kyrie Irving, Daniel Gafford, Anthony Davis are injured, and Klay Thompson is done. Let's call it as it is.
Exactly. I'll just kind of put a cherry on top of this thing. Nico stole PJ Washington, who's a hell of a player, from Charlotte. Stole him. He stole Daniel Gafford from Washington. These were moves that helped them make the finals. Nico did that. Okay? Patrick Dumont did not do that. Nico did that. So anyway, Nico, we got love for you over here, man. We do. And I would go on vacation, and when you kind of like get back to reality and stuff, I'd call an attorney and just see if there's something there, because I would just want my pound of flesh. I know there's got to be a nice severance package for Nico, right? When big time dudes like Nico get fired, they always get paid a bunch to go away. It's not going to be like a college football coach getting $60 million, $52 million, $37.5 million after their firing, which is insane. But Nico, we love you over here, and he will rise again. All right, so guys, last night was insanity, chaotic insanity in the NBA. One of the most entertaining regular season nights we've seen in a long time. All right, the stats, the shots, the games, the overtimes, insanity. I'm going to run through some of it, just and then I'm going to ask you two great gentlemen here, Dr. Phil McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X, and we have Dwight Walton. I'm Rick Kamla. Dennis Scott and Brandon Armstrong are going to join us in a little bit as well. Victor last night became the first player ever to have a 6x5. That's 5+ points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, threes. Nobody ever did it before. 38, 12, and 5, 5 blocks, and 6 threes. Okay? Like, actually, it's not a 6x5 because the steals aren't in there, but you get the point. He also was great in the final moments of that game. Desmond Bane, buzzer beater to beat Portland. Andrew Wiggins, buzzer beating dunk off an inbound to beat the Cavaliers. Kuzma gets a steal and slam against his former team to help the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Mavericks. Okay? Dennis Jenkins hits a 3-ball at the end of regulation to force overtime. We now know who he is. I knew who he was, but probably most hoopheads did not. Cade Cunningham, 46, 12, and 11. Grayson Allen, 42, 10 threes, most in Suns history. C.J. McCollum had 42. Luka Doncic had 38 and goodies. Anthony Edwards had 35 with goodies. And around the room we go. Dwight, your favorite moment or sequence or thing from Monday night in the NBA?
My response is going to be twofold here. I will always appreciate and admire the talent and unicorn-like stuff that Victor Wembanyama does. We understand the repertoire that he currently has. I would love to see him, and it'll come over time when he gets stronger, when he gets his physical mature weight. But I would love to see him simplify his skill set rather than trying to show everything. He's 7'5" at the end of the day. Give us a jump hook over either shoulder. Incorporate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook at some point. But that'll come on down the line. Last night, what I appreciate, he had the ball at the top of the key, game is tied. One of his teammates was going to come up and set a ball screen. He told him, no, you stay there. I've got this. He wanted to go man-on-man against Nico Vucevic. Once again, not known for his defensive prowess, but size for size, I get it. Sized him at the top of the key, a couple of scissor dribbles, pulls up for a 3, and puts them up. Eventually was the game-winning shot. Spurs went out to win by 5. But that 3-point shot, and just the courage, the dog, the competitive spirit, he wants to be great, Victor Wembanyama. That shot, is, of course, proved it once again, and we're going to see many more of those moments. But again, I guess it's the big man mentality that I have. I would love to see him go down in the low block where he'll become even more unstoppable. He's already unstoppable as it is. He's averaging 25, 26 points per game, and his repertoire really hasn't been tapped yet. Imagine when he simplifies his game, he gets more compact, and he has a go-to move, if you will, once he gets older and more experienced. But to wave off his teammates, size up Nico Vucevic last night at the top of the key, and drain that 3 for the eventual game-winning shot over the Bulls, that was my moment of the NBA night on Monday night.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dwight. That was also mine. I think a lot of people are forgetting the three he took right before that shot. He took two threes back to back essentially, and both were in Vucevic's grill, which is crazy because Vuce is like at least 6'10", and he looks like he's a small forward standing next to Wembanyama. It's hilarious. I mean, even when they line up for the free throws, it's crazy to see. But I just like the confidence that Wembanyama was playing with, and also they were coming from behind, so he always seemed like he had that determination to win this game and did it in the flow of the game. And he knew when it was his time, he took it. And those shots were pure. And, just the way the confidence, he just rose up. I think he hit one on the right wing and then he hit one on the top of the key. And that was just a reminder of what we were seeing in the beginning of the year. Cause I think the last couple of games he had been as dominant, but still effective, obviously, with getting the amounts of blocks he's been getting. But that was I think it was great for a night that we had in the NBA for him to be a part of that. But it was great to watch. That's actually the one I saw. But when I saw the other replays, they still didn't overwhelm me like watching what I saw against the Spurs and the Bulls.
I love the answers, guys. I'm going to take a different approach here. And I did really love this sequence, but I had a feeling there was going to be a lot of Wemby here today. And clearly, and he had a three, then a block, and then the size up three on Vucevic, right? Three, block, three. Are you kidding me, dude? He had 18 points in the fourth quarter. Wemby had 18 in the fourth quarter. This guy, man, this guy. For me, in this chaotic, nutty night in the NBA, the end of the Cavaliers-Miami game. Guys, pardon me. The Donovan Mitchell shot in the corner with 0.4 seconds left to tie the game. He misses that shot, they lose. They lost anyway, but he misses that shot, you lose right there in that moment. It's over. Unless you get some kind of weird putback or something, but that, that shot by Donovan Mitchell, I'm not sure I've ever seen him make a better shot. It may go down as the shot of the season, although it won't because it didn't win a game, right? But my God, that shot, it was absolutely an insane degree of difficulty on that shot. Like Steph Curry saw the video of that and was like, dang, dude, that's a heck of a shot. Luka with all his trick shots and hitting 70-footers and sitting down, hitting shots from 40 feet away. He was like, dang, dude, that was a shot. So the Donovan Mitchell shot. But then we go to the Miami huddle, right? 0.4 seconds left. Hold on one quick second. Let's go to the Miami huddle. So Nikola Jovic is on the side out, right, on the right side. Throws an absolute dime to a cutting Andrew Wiggins. DeAndre Hunter fell asleep. And Andrew Wiggins came around his screen and was just all alone. It was like a football play where you're like, how'd that guy get so wide open? Well, either a defender fell or whatever, but DeAndre Hunter fell asleep. And Wiggins makes a great cut. Jovic puts it right on a dime because he's got to catch that thing and flush like all in one motion. There's only 0.4 seconds left. If it's anywhere off, he's got to grab it, and then it would have taken too much time. Bam, catches it, dunks it. Everybody mobs Andrew Wiggins. Place goes crazy down in Miami. Coach posted afterwards that his assistant coach, Chris Quinn, drew that play up, and it was his idea to call it last night. And so Spo said he just sat down in the huddle and drew up the play. That's incredible. And I love that Spo went out of his way to give Chris Quinn so much credit. So that's my moment, guys. I mean, so much stuff to love, though. That who thought the Detroit and Washington game was going to be anything as close to as good as it was? Detroit won, I think, their 7th straight game. They're 9-2. They're atop the East. Doc, you've seen the Wizards a couple of times this year at Madison Square Garden. I couldn't believe that they gave Detroit that good of a game last night.
Nah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I kept the eye on it. I was happy for Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons. The fact that a lot of people didn't mention them because they lost, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley is not a part of the roster. And, the way Duran is playing and Cade Cunningham, I'm really excited about the fact that the Pistons, I had them listed. Everybody was talking about Cleveland and the Knicks, Cleveland and the Knicks. Everybody left out Detroit. And I just felt like Detroit played so well last year. You have to keep them in the conversation. So I'm glad that they're, proving a lot of people wrong and are a part of the conversation.
They're fun, man. Cade Cunningham last night set a weird record. He with the 46, 12, and 11. First player with 45, 10, and 10 and 5 steals since 1973-74, which is the first year they tracked steals, which is insanity, right? Think all those years in the 50s and 60s and early 70s. They did not track blocks and steals. Duh! It's like the dumbest thing in NBA history. It really, really is. But Cade missed 31 shots last night. And it like the most missed shots, I think, ever or something like that, or maybe since the merger or whatever. But I'm not mad at him.
He took 45.
You took what? Wow. That's a lot
He
of
took
shots.
45 shots last night, missed 31.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that.
45 shots. He had 46 points on 45 shots. I love it, man. I love it. Anything else pop up from last night for you guys? You guys ready to move on?
No, I just, Rick, for me, and I came into the season saying this, there's a reason why we're seeing all these outstanding individual performances, how exciting the start of the season has been. It's because we're on the verge of watching the most exciting, best NBA season ever. The amount of parity, the skill set across the league, just how difficult it is to coach in this NBA, how difficult it is to play defense in this NBA. If you want to play in today's NBA, with a few exceptions, all of the players have to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot. This is the way the game is now, and there's no position unless there's just some obvious players that play positions very well. But the way basketball is trending, the way these offensive players are playing, the skill set, the pace of the game, that's why we're seeing so many injuries. The game has never been faster. The game has never been more skilled. The elite coaching that we have in this league. And that's why people that say there's no defense in today's NBA anymore is because of how high the skill set is. And yes, some of the rule changes have caused that to happen. But the NBA, if you've been watching carefully, they're starting to come back and allow some physicality to be back in the NBA. But the players are so skilled in today's NBA, things have changed. And again, with a few exceptions, you have to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot. And that's why you're seeing all of these records being broken. That's why you're seeing all of these great individual performances. And the parity in the NBA has never been like this ever. So we are definitely on the verge of watching the best NBA season ever. And I'm probably going to say that for every year going forward, as long as the NBA continues to go upward at this rate.
It's fun, man. It's a good time to be a hoop head, that's for sure. And in the college ranks, you have Darren Peterson, you have Dominique's son Jake catching windmills up an alley-oop. You have Cam Boozer at Duke right now. I can't think of the guy's name, but there's
BYU.
It's Yabansta. I can't quite remember it. I'm still getting to know these guys a little bit. This draft, the 2026 draft, is going to be mega. It is there. I think there may be a lot of tanking in March and April. This is a very, very good draft. All right, it is Beyond the Surface here on the X-Rated Sports Network. Rick Kamla, blessed to be here with Dwight Walton and Dr. X. Dennis Scott and Brandon Armstrong are going to fall in at some point here. We do not have our buddy A.M. Pfeffer here today. We love A.M. He's got some stuff going on. We'll get him back on Friday. LaMelo Ball. Okay, there was a report that came out. And guys, I've been kind of sitting on this debate topic for a while. Now's the time. Is LaMelo Ball a franchise player? Here's the report. A scout says LaMelo Ball doesn't take basketball seriously. Quote, yes, he's talented, but he doesn't take basketball seriously enough. Another West scout said it's hard to build a winner with him because of how he plays and the liberties he takes for himself when he plays. Dr. X, you first. Is LaMelo Ball a franchise player?
No, I just think availability is the main reason why he's not a franchise player, in my opinion. I don't know him personally, but it just seems like he doesn't take the game seriously. Um, I just feel like he's really good in terms of his skill set. He's kind of like one of those gamers that are just talented, like a savant, that he could just show up and just do so many magical things with the basketball. He could do trick shots. He could do all that stuff in the middle of the game in a high pressure situation, and that's great and all. But I'm not sure if he's a leader of men. I'm not sure if he's gonna, play through an injury. And I think all the injuries he's had have been legit. The wrist injuries. I think he's had a lot of ankle injuries, and so I just feel like all those things combined. I think his best bet for his career path will probably be to be repotted into a new situation, a part of an organization, maybe like, the San Antonio Spurs. That would probably do him a lot of good in terms of, but I just think being in Charlotte, um, it just seems like he's collecting a paycheck and, but he's going to put butts in the seats because he's exciting and this generation loves his type of play and the way, the flair that he brings to the game. But to answer your question, I don't think he's a franchise player because of health. And it's not just been 1 or 2 years; it's almost been like every year. I don't think he gets over 50 games a year.
Love it, Doc. Dwight, how about you, man? Is LaMelo Ball a franchise player?
For the Charlotte Hornets, yes, he is for that market. Overall, no, he's not. To Phil's point, because of the lack of availability, he is box office because of his skill set. He's flashy. All of those things are necessary in order to put butts into seats, especially in a market where championships really haven't been the focus. They may say that it is, but in reality, they haven't put forth the rosters in recent memory to really be contending for championships. So for the Hornets, he is a franchise player. But for the grand scope of things, I don't think he is. I think I'm going to box him into the same reasons I have for Russell Westbrook. Terrific talent is going to do something show-stopping in a game on a night-in, night-out basis. But is his style of play conducive to winning? That will always be the question. And I'm not sure that he has that style right now. Can he conform and eventually and mature and eventually become that player? That remains to be seen. But when healthy, the Charlotte Hornets could put forth a pretty decent roster, having Ball at the 1, Brandon Kahn-Knipple at the 2, Brandon Miller at the 3, Ryan Kalkbrenner at Miles Bridges, at the 4, and Ron Kalkbrenner at the 5. When healthy, that could be a pretty competitive roster. So maybe the Charlotte Hornets at this point want to see if Ball, to Phil's point, can be a leader of men and eventually mature his game down and be a leader of what could be a pretty competitive roster in an Eastern Conference if healthy.
I love it, guys. He is not a franchise player. LaMelo Ball was a franchise player. No longer is. You can't like get the title, get the role of being a franchise player, and then hit chill mode. It's not what you do, man. It's not what you do. So this could just be shrugged off. A couple of scouts. It's an ESPN.com article. You talk to 3 other scouts, they're going to say good things about him. I don't know about that. Okay. I really don't, because the body language, it's aloof. To a degree, it's apathetic. I don't get the feeling that he has to win. I don't get the feeling that he especially loves basketball. We're not fighting through injuries. We're missing a million games. We're not winning. And that it doesn't seem like there's any frustration through any of that. I got to prove them wrong about that. It's just, I'm good. I'm LaMelo Ball. I'm a max guy. I'm wealthy beyond belief. Because of my game, it's like a sassy sizzle game, and I love his game, guys. I mean, I love it. I compared him to Magic Johnson when I first saw him. in the where was he, Australia or wherever, and then like with Charlotte, I'm like, this guy passes like magic behind the head and like no vision and all this like just outlandish stuff. Okay, and those comps, like, it just went, shut your mouth, Cam. This guy can't play 30 games, and we even put these names in the same book. Okay, games played, guys, for LaMelo Ball: 51, 75. That was year 2. He was an all-star that year.
Okay.
And then 36, 22, 47. And he's played 6 games this year, which is about half of their game. He's hurt right now. All right. So 36, 22, 47. It's god awful. And you look at the stats, they're amazing. All right. We're talking like 23, 6, and 8, 24, 5, and 8, 25, 5, and 7. I mean, the numbers are staggering. I love the guy as a player. I do. I love his skill set. I love his talent. I love how he makes teammates better. I love how he sends a charge through the arena. Okay. But he's not a max player, and he's not a franchise player. And I got one more story for you guys. And I began to get worried about LaMelo Ball when I read this 5 or 6 years ago. This is his 6th year in the league. He was a rookie at the time. First time playing against LeBron James. So, the media is always like, hey, man, what do you think about LeBron? Did you watch him coming up? Role model to you, stuff like that. Very, basic question. And LaMelo said, nah, man, I don't watch basketball that way. Like you never watched LeBron James? You never saw highlights? Did you see the block against Golden State? Right? Like, what do you mean you don't watch basketball that way? Guys, like, I have a problem with that. Like, personally, okay? If you want to rock that way, go ahead and rock that way, okay? But you're not going to be one of my guys. The guys, like, I'm, like, Mamba mentality is huge in my life, okay? And, like, Kobe, and he's got all these disciples, right? Devin Booker, Trae Young, Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving. There's a million others, right? But, like, Kobe won the ring in 2010 with an avulsion fracture on his right index finger, okay, Doc? We talked about that on NBA TV back in the day. There's a level of dedication. There's a level of, I've got to get this done, that LaMelo Ball can't even, it's not even in his brain. Like, and so that's a problem for me. And, like, I need guys that want to stay up until 3 a.m. watching video of the team they're going to play the next night, like Kobe did, okay? And so that doesn't sound like LaMelo Ball's really psyched about taking a tape home to scout the point guard he's going to play against the next night. Does he even watch that video, okay? So to me, he's a franchise player of maybe a video game franchise, but not an NBA franchise.
I agree 100%. He doesn't have the urgency. He doesn't play with the insanity of just being a student of the game. And, he's not obsessive over his craft. It just seems like it comes so natural to him that he kind of takes it for granted, and, I just, just to balance it out, it's not like his team has been healthy either, but they don't really have the roster. He didn't have Brandon Miller last year, didn't have the year before that. Miles Bridges had some issues, and then Mark Williams was supposed to do well, but then he had some health issues, got traded and got taken back because of health issues as well. So I mean, just in general, I think the Charlotte Hornets haven't had the best of luck in terms of health for their players, and maybe the franchise in general needs to probably just look at some things. But he's definitely he's definitely a number 2. Don't get me wrong, it may not be franchise. He should get a really good contract going forward as well. But I just think if you put him in a different organization, truth be told, imagine him on Golden State Warriors. I mean, he was supposed to be there instead of Wiseman. The Golden State Warriors drafted Wiseman. Do you guys think Melo would have been a better fit on Golden State? Do you think his being around someone like a Draymond Green would have been good for him?
He wouldn't be available, Phil. He wouldn't be available. He's hurt all the time.
That's true. There you go. Yeah.
It's an interesting question, though, okay? Because culture is huge. Program culture is huge. And if he would have gone to a championship culture where they hold you accountable, right? They don't hold anybody accountable in Charlotte. Like, they're just happy to have a star like LaMelo that people in Charlotte are happy to go out and watch on a Friday night or a Monday night. Nobody's holding it. I mean, I'm not trying to throw Charles Lee under the bus. I like Charles Lee a lot. But he can't hold players as accountable in Charlotte as Steve Kerr can at Golden State, right? For all the obvious reasons. Kerr's a championship coach. Charles Lee is just starting his thing here. And I hope Charlotte, I hate it when teams hire a terrific assistant who's ready to be a head coach like Steven Silas in Houston, right? And then they give him nothing to work with. And then the moment they want to start being good again, they fire that guy and hire a new guy. Let Charles Lee play this out, please. But it's Charlotte, okay? It's just different. So do you think we'd be getting a different LaMelo Ball right now? A more feisty, more competitive, more urgent, to Doc's word, a guy that's going to fight through injuries a little bit more if he would have been drafted by Golden State?
Oh, without question. And I'm glad Phil brought that up because it is a factor. Culture matters. Now, does culture keep you away from injury? I'm not sure it does, but maybe his attention to detail, his attention to his body, being around a championship culture and people that are going to hold you accountable, maybe he staves off of those injuries because of said culture. So, of course, if he was with Golden State, we'd be having a very, very different conversation about LaMelo Ball at this point. James Wiseman, they thought, was the right choice. 7'2", had the skill set, could dribble, pass, and shoot at his size, could also defend the rim, very athletic. But for whatever reason, he was enigmatic, didn't get along with Steve Kerr, didn't get along with the entire franchise, and was subsequently moved to a different squad. So, and of course, he's also injury prone with the Pacers currently. Hasn't played very much in his 2-year stint so far in Indianapolis. So it's crazy how things work out. But of course, if Melo was brought into a championship situation, maybe his vision of basketball would have been a lot different than it currently is, and he would have been held more accountable, to your point, Phil and Rick, most definitely.
We have Brandon Armstrong with us right now. BDot. BDot, what's up, dude? Welcome to Beyond the Surface. Welcome back, man.
How y'all doing, man? These kids, man, come on. I'm trying to put them to sleep. My oldest two, they went to sleep faster than my youngest. The youngest one usually go to sleep fast, but she want to stay up till 1. I'm like, bro, what's going on, man? But man, it's good to see y'all, man. Y'all look good. Hey, Phil, you see, I'm rocking, right? You see,
I see you. I see you.
You
gotta send that to me tonight, man. I'm gonna rock it tonight.
God, how y'all doing? Y'all good?
That's a cool hat. Tell us about the hat. Is that a Knicks hat?
It's
Yankee-ish.
My guys from New York is for Love Yours. So we just integrated the New York, the New York Knicks logo, Yankees logo with Love Yours with a heart. So yeah, man, it's all love.
No, that's cool. I love it. Not sure it's all love in NY, but there's a lot of love in NY.
Come on, man.
Anyway.
If we're talking Carl Anthony Towns defense, then there's not much love in NY, but everything goes.
Nah.
BDot, let's go back to the top here because we just kind of wrapped. Well, let me ask you about LaMelo Ball here, and then we got to get your take on Nico Harrison. We just asked a question. We had a nice little debate here. Is LaMelo Ball a franchise player? Go.
Under the right organization, I think he is. He started. I know it's only been 10 games, but the way he started the season, it looked very promising. It's just the injuries, man. The injuries hurt. And the organization, it's hard to be successful in that Charlotte Hornets organization, So, and that's with whatever player you want to name, whether that's Kemba Walker, whether that's Kid Gilchrist. It's just I like the pieces around him, but I think just that organization needs changing. You see what Mark Williams is doing with the Suns right now. He's looking really well, but of course, he has a veteran leader from a Devin Booker. And a couple pieces, Dylan Brooks. He has a lot of guys, even Grayson Allen, that have been in the league. And not saying Mark Williams is a franchise player. I'm just saying a different atmosphere makes a whole lot difference for a really good player. And Mark Williams is playing his ass off out here with the Phoenix Suns. So I think if he's with someone like the Golden State Warriors, just championship roster, with those veterans around him. Like I said, of course, I like the Golden State Warriors. We can name a few. We can name the OKC Thunder if he had that coach, that leadership. I think he'll be a way better player than he is now because he's a hell of a player.
Doc and Dwight, I want to have a little fun with BDot right here. Let's get the comedian out of BDot here. BDot, you mentioned Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Can you emulate his shooting form for us right now?
Oh gosh.
Ooh, that boy
Get ISO here on BDot. I want to see this. Come on, give me this BDot. That's what I'm talking about.
Crazy, I was clearing out my contacts last night, and I got Gilchrist's number. I don't even know how. I don't remember when. Probably in my impersonation days. But I should have probably called him and texted him like, "Hey man, I got this guy named Lethal Shooter. They can definitely help you and get that shot right." Oh man, but hell of a player from Kentucky. Played at Kentucky.
Yeah, God bless Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, man. I knew you'd have because the elbow was kind of weird and it didn't really work out very well for him. And then one more thing to get you caught up, BDot. Was it fair for the Mavericks to fire Nico Harrison today? Was it fair?
Oh man, first of all, they made my boy. They made my man Nico the scapegoat. I believe that it was some inside stuff going on for that Luka trade, and then he ended up getting number 1 pick. We never got to see Nico's team full roster. Bring in Kyrie Irving, So honestly, I don't think it was right. I think let the man finish the season off with a healthy Anthony Davis, with a healthy Kyrie Irving, and see what happens after that. But I feel like Nico was a scapegoat. I think he got paid really well though. At least I think if he's going to go out, I think they gave him an under the table bag. That's just my opinion. I think because
they always do. They always do, BDot. They always do.
Come on, man. Like, I can tell you some stories about that old Brooklyn Nets owner when they had Joe Johnson and Darren Williams over there. The under the table bags they were getting, but that's a different story for a different day. Okay.
What are you talking about? Hold on, I don't want to say his name. I'm just gonna stop right there. BDot, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I had a joke, but it was better not to tell the joke because I could have put my life in danger. Okay, so I'm not telling the joke.
We don't want that at all. But in my opinion, I think they should have let Nico rock with the vision and the roster that he had, and then fire him after that if it didn't work. So yeah, that R.I.P. Nico, man. We love you, dog. We love you.
Yeah, we're happy for him now. BDot, we all agree. We all think it was unfair to fire Nico. I mean, I think we kind of all saw this coming. I don't think any of us were surprised by this, but no, it's not fair. And we spent a lot of time on that. So we had to get your opinion on that, BDot. It is 4 for 4 over here that we got Nico's back. And I mean, literally, hopefully he's, on the phone with his, wife or partner or whoever, where are we going? Where are we going? Cabo, Belize, you want to go to Switzerland? We got to leave Dallas right now. All right, let's get to these Clippers, man. It is Beyond the Surface X-Rated Sports Network. Rick Kamla, Dr. Phil McDonald, Dwight Walton, and Brandon Armstrong has fallen in. Have you lost all hope for the Los Angeles Clippers? I'm going to go first on this one. Hell yes, I have. Okay, but the thing is, guys, I never had any hope for them in the first place. I want to tell you something right now. You guys know I've been covering the NBA for decades, all right? Almost every single year, and especially starting with the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan Clippers, which are pretty good, right? But every year there'd be somebody. It'd be a Kendrick Perkins or a Frank Iso, some big NBA media person. And I love both those guys. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. Would be like, this is the Clippers' year, man. They're gonna win it. Oh, they're gonna do this and this and this and that and that and that. Okay, never, ever, ever comes to fruition. Okay, Kawhi's hurt again. Love you, Kawhi, but I mean, my goodness, they're 3-7. They've lost 5 straight games. They took another L last night. They're chilling with Dallas, Utah, and Sacramento in the standings right now. They're in the bottom 5 of the league, guys. They're 11th in defense, which is pretty good, giving up 114 a game. They're 27th in offense. They're horrible. Okay, they're scoring 108.9 per game. They've had a lot of bad losses. They got destroyed by the Jazz in Utah in the opener. They lost a back-to-back to the Suns recently. They just lost to the Hawks at home without Trae Young. They should not be losing these games. Ty Lue, to me, has been making a mistake with John Collins, not starting him. Bradley Beal is completely washed. I have more on him when we get to our rant later on in the show. And James Harden, even if they win 50 games and somehow make the playoffs, or 47 games and somehow make the playoffs, James Harden will then choke in big playoff games, and then that will derail your season. So no matter how you go, it's going to end up, there's no pot of gold at the end of this rainbow, guys. There's none. The pot of gold for the Clippers is All-Star Weekend, okay? That's the best thing that's going to happen to Steve Ballmer this year in the basketball realm. So, Dwight Walton, I go to you first here, man. Is all hope lost with the LA Clippers?
I'm not going to sit here and say 10 games into the season, Rick, that the season is lost in Los Angeles. What I will say is I'm sure Jeff Van Gundy must be pulling out whatever hair he has left on his head because they don't guard the way they did last season. Now, they did bring in more players. They did get a deeper roster because that's the only way any team is going to be able to compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder if they want to have any shot at beating them 4 times in a 7-game series. But is it possible that the cloud of this whole Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard aspiration situation is hovering over this organization? I know the players the coaches and players do a fantastic job of being able to compartmentalize their lives away from the basketball floor. That's where they thrive. Those 2.5, 3 hours per night gets them away from all of that difficulty. I understand that. But to me, it is too early in the season. It is only 10 games. Yes, they've lost 5 games in a row. But until they figure things out defensively, I don't think they're going to have success. But that roster, for me, is more primed for playoff success than it is regular season success. The problem with that is because of how competitive the Western Conference is, this 3-7 start could put you behind the 8 ball very, very early in a season where it should be more of a marathon than it is a sprint. But they're not going to be at the bottom with the Utahs and the Sacramentos for the rest of the year. They will figure it out at some point this season. They got to get healthier as the season goes on, and that includes Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, and whoever else is on the bench right now due to injury. But that roster is definitely built, in my opinion, for some playoff success. What does that playoff success mean? That remains to be seen. But again, Oklahoma City is going to be tough to beat 4 times in a 7-game series. But I think the Clippers added depth so they can give themselves a better chance over the course of a playoff run to see if they can do that against the upper echelon of the Western Conference.
Dr. X, is all hope lost with the LA Clippers?
I agree with Dwight's take. I'm trying to play nice today with Dwight, but
Thank you. Thank you.
I definitely agree with his take.
Why?
Well, last year, I believe, I believe last year they had a slow start as well, and then they started getting in their rhythm and their groove. I'm happy to see that Jeff Van Gundy is still there because I think if they figure out the defense, and to your point, Rick, I do think John Collins should start. It'd be nice to see how that looks with someone like John Collins there. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a picture of Norman Powell from last year. That was probably the reason why they really started doing good because Norman Powell just had that motor that they needed. And I think they must have known that Bradley Beal didn't have the same motor as Norman Powell, but I just don't know. They are probably just like a 1 or 2 trades away from getting a player that could spark this roster. Because on paper, I know it's old, but I do think that they have, to Dwight's point, some sort of playoff. I would say some durability there from last year. They looked. I mean, they took who did they take to Game 7? Was it Denver? Yeah, because I think they saw Denver in the first round. Was that the case? And then they lost Denver, and those games were like buzzer beater, like freaking Aaron Gordon catching a dunk, buzzer beater, and I think he hit a 3-pointer as well. So those series could have went either way, and it was unfortunate the Clippers saw Denver in the first round, but I think the Clippers you know, if they could get someone for Bradley Beal, I'm not sure if he has like a no trade clause at this point, but Bradley Beal probably in the same category as Klay Thompson at this point. And I think they need to change that position. They need to bring in some more youth. And there's a couple teams that they could probably do a trade with that would fit that roster. But yeah, I think a healthy Kawhi, which is a big if, and a James Harden. I love Zoo. I like the pieces in John Collins. I like the Lopez brother being there, Blake. Yeah, Blake being there, and I love the coaching staff. So I think they're probably a couple trades away from being legit and a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs. But yeah, to your point, guys, you gotta win the games in the Western Conference to even be in the conversation.
BDot, Dwight says all hope is not lost. Doc is keeping hope alive with the LA Clippers. I most certainly am not. How about you?
Let me tell you something about the Los Angeles Clippers, okay? You take a roster with the likes of James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, John Collins, Zubac, stars, vets, season winners. And right now, they 3-7 in the West, okay? They're giving up 114 a night. But look, now imagine this, all right? We sit in the driver's seat of a Ferrari, all right? With the engine full of horsepower, all right? And what you get instead is a sputter, a cough, a click, click, all right? That's what the Clippers engine sounds like right now. You got the parts, you got the pedigree, but the tune-up, it's just not done. I'm not ready to bury them yet, but if this turbo doesn't kick in fast, we might just watch that Ferrari start rolling backward down the driveway instead of hitting the freeway. You feel me? Kind of on some Ferris Bueller type ish. All right, it's not looking too good. All right, and we passing Bradley Beal around like Brittany Reiner. We can't keep the quality of his and Bill is my guy. But we can't just keep trying to trade him for here and think we're gonna get quality back. All right, because it's not gonna look too good. All right, we might as well just keep Bradley Beal and hopefully he spruces it up. But I don't think that if we try to trade him somewhere else, his value just keeps going down and down and down. I like Dwight and Phil said, I don't want to give up on him yet. But if they don't kick that thing, they don't go to Jiffy Lube and get a real good oil change. You need that $129 oil change because that engine they got a lot of miles on it. With James Harden, Kawhi, and Bradley, you got to get that high mileage tune up, and they need that ASAP. Or Balmer, he don't got no more hair to lose. He might just start losing brain cells. So I don't want to bury him now, but it ain't looking too good.
Yo, Doc, you trying to get us canceled before we get started, man? What's going on, dude?
My bad. I forgot this is live. My bad. It's the kids. It's the kids, Dwight. They're messing up my head, man. I'm sorry. Good.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man.
Brittany Griner.
All right.
I said Brittany Griner. Okay. The WNBA player.
Well, once again, tears on the cheeks here. Brandon Armstrong, you do that. That's your fault. You do this. You evoke the laughter that evokes these tears. You the man, Brandon. It is Cam. It is BDot. It is Dr. X, and it is Dwight. And let's pay some respects here and honor and celebrate a couple of losses here to the NBA family. One, a giant, a GOAT, the late great Lenny Wilkens, and another was a heck of a player and had a troubled life and a very sort of complicated story, and that's Michael Ray Richardson. Lenny Wilkens, Hall of Famer, of course, passed on Sunday. He was 88 years old. What a life led by this man. Michael Ray Richardson reportedly passed away today at the age of 70. Wilkens played for 15 years, 9-time All-Star, twice led the league in assists, led the Sonics to the 79 title as a coach. He was coach of the year later. He retired as the all-time wins leader, 1332. He's now third all-time. He does have this record. He coached the most games in NBA history, even more than Pop and Jerry Sloan and all these other guys. 2,487 games. Won an Olympic gold medal as coach of the 96 U.S. team, Dream Team 2. One of 5 men to be in the Naismith Hall as a player and coach, with John Wooden, Bill Sharman, Tom Heinsohn, and Bill Russell. That's some royalty right there. And Lenny Wilkens is royalty. And it's an amazing underdog story, guys. His father was a chauffeur who died when Lenny was 5. His mom worked in a candy factory. He didn't play for his high school team until his senior year. His parish priest wrote the athletic director. This is all from ESPN. His parish priest wrote the athletic director at Providence College asking that Wilkens be considered for a scholarship despite his limited play. Wilkens went on to get that job and become the Friars' first big star, a 2-time All-American. He's a giant in sports history. He's a giant in American history. And Richardson started at Montana. He was drafted by Doc's Knicks, 4th overall back in 1978. His nickname was Sugar. He played 8 years with the Knicks, Dubs, and Nets. 4-time All-Star. And guys, he had a year in 85, 20 points, 8 assists, almost 6 rebounds, and a league best 3 steals per game for the Nets back in 84, 85. So we say goodbye to Michael Ray Richardson, Lenny Wilkens, and let's go around the room here with some love and some celebration for these 2 individuals, starting with Mr. Dwight Wall.
Rick, when we talk about the late, great Lenny Wilkens, as you said, out of his 15-year career, he was a 9-time All-Star. He finished second in the MVP voting in the 1967-68 season. But we most notably know Lenny for what he did as a coach. And also going back to his playing days, he's not only in the top 50, he's also in the top 75 of all time. As a coach, he's in the top 15 of all time. To your point, when he retired, he was first in wins. He's now 3rd overall in wins. Has an NBA championship with the 1979 Seattle Supersonics. Is in the Hall of Fame as a player and as a coach. He's also in the Hall of Fame as a part of, I want to say, the 1992 Dream Team or the 1996 Dream Team. So he's in the Hall of Fame on 3 separate occasions. That is a resume as long as anybody currently in the NBA. That's how beloved Lenny Wilkens was on the basketball floor, and he was just as loved off the basketball court. He's known for his debonair, his suit wearing, his fashion. He was class personified. He was a silent assassin, if you will. Really wasn't brash, in your face, but it just speaks to being left-handed, being smooth, had the nice short afro, just looked as cool, as calm, and as classy as anybody did throughout the NBA career. It's a sad day, lived a great life, had a great NBA life, and he's much loved by everybody in the NBA, in NBA circles, in basketball circles in general. And Michael Ray Richardson, what can we say? His famous quote, "The ship be sinking." Michael Ray was known for his flash as well. Yes, he had his demons off the basketball court, but you can't diminish what he did on the basketball floor. He was able to get his life somewhat together off the basketball court as he got later on in life. But we celebrate today 2 great individuals in Lenny Wilkens and Michael Ray Richardson.
Dr. X, come on in here.
Yeah, I remember when Lenny first came to the Knicks. That was around the time that, it was the dark ages of the Knicks. That was when we had Stephon Marbury. And I think around the next year, Allen Houston would retire. I think we had Jamal Crawford around that time. And it's about 2004, 2005-ish. Yeah, but that I remember he was a class act, seeing him on the sideline those years, and was happy that we at least had some glimmer of hope of someone being a part of this organization that would at least spark a revolution and just make us come back into prominence again. But people from his era, they don't make those guys like that anymore. And as Dwight was saying, he's a class act. He was born 2 years after my dad, and he kind of reminds me of my dad in terms of his demeanor, his
Mm-hmm.
class and just the way he carries
Agree.
himself. So yeah, just soft spoken but strong, kind. I always felt that from him just through the screen. Never met him in person, but just to hear someone at his age dying is a reminder of that era of generation of men that were, I would say, reminded this world that there's still good people in this world and something to be emulated going forward.
Amen.
Michael Ray Richardson, uh, really glad that he's getting his flowers, and he had a lot of stuff off the court, but he was a Knickerbocker, also drafted around in the '70s, so I wasn't even watching then, but I did come to know about him later on in life, and just glad that he was able to make the impact that he made. And you can learn something from everybody's story, and it's kind of good for us to be able to see the good with the bad and to see how you could turn it around at any point in time.
Great call, you guys.
So I
BDot, you're
got for
up
you.
next, man. Celebrating Lenny Wilkens and Michael Ray Richardson.
We lost two true pillars of the game, Lenny Wilkens and Michael Ray Richardson. I mean, I'm only 35, so I didn't get to see them live, but when I fell in love with the game of basketball, I studied the greats. Wilkens used to say the most important quality I look for in a player is accountability, and you got to be accountable for who you are, and it's easy to blame those things on someone else. And like Dwight said, we all know Richardson's favorite line. The ship is sinking. Two different men, two different areas. Same unshakable legacy. Like Wilkens, the super calm leader and Hall of Famer who coached and played at a very elite level. Richardson, he was fearless, slippery hands guard, who showed brilliance and resilience. So I just like to say, rest easy to those legends. Your spirit still rings in every gym, every pickup game, across every hardwood, behind every whistle. And, we appreciate you guys and, rest in heaven.
God bless the late, great Lenny Wilkens and the late, great Michael Ray Richardson. We send out condolences and love and blessings to their family and friends that they left behind, and they will never be forgotten. That is absolutely for sure. Now, we move on, guys. It is Veterans Day, and I've come up with a little list, and this harkens back to a segment that I did on the fantasy show way back in the day. We did the Warrior of the Week or the Day. It was a everyday show, but I think we did it weekly. I can't really remember, but we had a bit about the Warriors. Okay, these are the tough guys. I remember one time Danny Granger with the Pacers in a game against the Celtics was diving for a loose ball. Paul Pierce also dove for that loose ball. Paul Pierce landed on him. Danny Granger, all of his front teeth shattered on the floor, okay, because of the impact of Paul Pierce, and it just caught at the wrong time, and teeth everywhere, right? Dude stayed in the game, okay? And so that's my kind of guy. That's what I'm talking about. So we kind of created that bit, and I want to bring it back here because it's Veterans Day. And shout out to all the men and women who have served, who are serving, who will serve. But my top 5 Warriors of all time. Number 1, and it's not close, is Kobe Bryant for winning the ring in 2010 with an avulsion fracture on his right index finger, his trigger finger. We had Gary Vitti on NBA radio, 2-3 years ago. And he said that that he had to, and it took a long time, to create the splint that finally worked. And he said they did it and again and again and again, and it kept, Kobe's like, just didn't. And he explained that process, how scientific it was, how meticulous it was, and maybe in a way how annoying it was, right? My gosh, we're on the 10th try with this thing. But they eventually got it right. And Vitti said that Kobe had to, for that year, learn how to finish his shot, not with his index finger, but with his middle finger. So this dude on the fly with a jacked up trigger finger just said, I'll just release it off my middle. And he won the championship. Are you kidding me? All right. Number 2, right? The Michael Jordan flu game. And by the way, that was the Celtics with KG and Allen and Pierce and Rondo. That was a heck of a team, man. Number 2, the Michael Jordan flu game. Game 5, 97 finals. Series tied at 2. You got to go, okay? And Michael did. He had 38 with goodies. Bulls win the game 90-88, and they win game 6, and they win that chip, okay? Tiger Woods, number 3. Guys, Tiger Woods won the 2008 U.S. Open in a playoff with a double stress fracture in his left tibia. He played 91 holes of golf with a fracture in his left tibia. That's unbelievable. I got to give Ronnie Lott some props. And, he's number 4 for me here. Had the tip of his left pinky finger amputated after the 85 NFL season to avoid a surgery that would have made him miss the beginning of the 1986 season. And as we remember, that was the 49ers dynasty, right? That was Montana, Rice, Taylor, Roger Craig, and all the great defensive players that they had, led by Ronnie Lott. So that's number 4 for me. And then number 5, guys, is Emmitt Smith. I hope you guys remember this game. BDot, I'm not sure you were alive for this. Actually, you were. You're 35. You were alive for this. Hold on. I got to do the math. You were barely alive for this, but BDot, you were like an infant at this point. 1993.
93.
When were you born, BDot?
90.
90. Okay, so you were 3 years old. Final game of the 1993 season. It was a division-deciding game between the Cowboys and Giants. Emmitt Smith gets tackled, separates his shoulder. Oh, man, he's got to leave the game. We're screwed, right? No, what are you talking about? It's Emmitt Smith. He's the greatest running back of all time. An unpopular take that most people disagree with, but I will die on that hill. He's the greatest running back of all time. So the Cowboys trainers couldn't do anything to treat the injury in the game. So he just had to go out there and play with a separated shoulder. He had 78 yards after the injury, finished with 229, guys, 229 against the Bill Parcells Giants back in the heyday, okay? So the the Cowboys won that game and went on to win their second Super Bowl under Jimmy Johnson. And I love Emmitt Smith, man. So those are my top 5 Warriors: Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Ronnie Lott, and Emmitt Smith. And we now go around the room to the panel. Your guys' thoughts on that?
Go ahead, fellas.
Dwight? I like the list. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I would add.
No, my short list, Bernard King was averaging there was a stretch with the Knicks to where he was scoring in between 40 to 50 per game with 2 broken fingers on both hands. Not one, on both hands, right? So he's definitely on my list. Emmitt Smith, to Rick's point, shoulder separation, had one of the best games. I think it was Monday Night Football. Unbelievable performance. I know many hockey players that played with broken legs, broken arms during playoff games. That's why you'll always hear many sports analysts, when they're doing their Sports Center hits or whatever other network you watch, they'll say he's tough. He's a hockey player. And that's what they're referencing. That's why when you see some of the injuries that we see today, I know hockey players are out there laughing at the injuries that some of these players are sitting out from games for. So that is my short list. I think Tiger Woods, to your point, playing with that fractured fibula will go down in lore, as far as I'm concerned, to be able to play an entire tournament and to win as dominant as he was. And then there's others. Ronnie Lott amputating his finger. We can go down the line. Jock Youngblood from back in the day with the Rams. He played with multiple fractures throughout his body. That's how great these guys were. And it just speaks to the competitive spirit and wanting to be there for your team. When you play through injuries that would normally shelve yourself for not weeks but months on end, ending seasons for certain players, when you play through injuries like that, not only are you courageous in your own right, you're showing how being there for your teammates is of the utmost importance, and you're holding yourself accountable in that regard.
Yeah, I like it. I like the list. I like the ones that you added. I would say Allen Iverson also has a long list of injuries that he's played through as well. So AI would probably be on my list. And I guess you gotta give it up to LeBron for all the times he made it to the finals and all the games he's played and all the records he's hit. If you're talking about Warrior, he's not known for like sitting out games like that, and he's one of the most durable players that we've had, and for him to be setting all those records at that level of play is amazing. amazing feat within itself. Then you got to look at people like AC Green, and Micheal Bridges is my new warrior. Shout out to my Knicks. And outside of that, I'm not. I mean, Bo Jackson, he didn't really play through injuries, right? He kind of got injured, but he would have been somebody interesting to see what he could have done for the game, football, with his type of athleticism.
He's the greatest athlete I've ever seen. Bo Jackson is the greatest athlete I've ever seen. To truck dudes, run around dudes, run past dudes like the dang Roadrunner in the cartoon. And he had just a bleak brick house body. I mean, this guy, it could have been in like pro wrestling. And he's running in a spectacular catch at Yankee Stadium, like just continuing to run up the wall and then sideways. Like, what is that? Who does that? Bo Jackson, we love you, man. Greatest athlete I've ever seen. And one of the most tragic injury-like derailments in sports history. All right, let's bring on our buddy Flip right now. And let's get back to, I guess, the Clippers here a little bit. He's a huge Clippers fan. It is Rick Kamla. It is Brandon Armstrong. It is Dr. X. And it is Dwight Walton. We are Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Is Flip ready to go, or did I jump the gun there?
I'm here. What's good, fellas? Thanks for having
Flip
me.
is
Flipper. What up, cuzzo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How's it
good to
going,
have you on,
fellas?
man.
What's going on, Flip?
I've been enjoying the conversation.
Nice.
With Flip, probably with one exception, and that was when I kind of took a bat to the pinata, and the pinata is your Clippers, man. I have lost all hope for this team. Around the room, they have not. They're keeping hope alive with the LA Clippers. I think they're kind of delusional about that, but I mean, it's their opinion. They can go ahead and rock it if they want. So, Flip, where are you at? Your Clippers, man, lost 5 in a row, 3 and 7. Where are you pacing the floors? Are you out on a ledge right now? What's happening?
So I mean, I'm a little worried. I'm gonna be honest. I was very optimistic going into the season. The new additions: John Collins, Lopez, Chris Paul, Bradley Beal. Kawhi being healthy to start the season for the first time in years. And then all of a sudden, first game of the season, Utah beat us by like 30. And then I realized we can't play defense. They're too old. Like you guys were talking earlier, they need to get younger. They started playing Cam Christie. They started playing Kobe Brown a little more. But everyone on their team is probably 30 and over. Bogdanovich acts like he forgot how to play. Not utilizing John Collins right. It's I'm worried. I'm gonna be honest. My son keeps coming up to me after every game like, "You worried yet, Dad? You worried yet, Dad?" And there's some concern. But I will say, with those 5 losses, I think Kawhi missed 3 or 4 of those games.
Yep. But Flip,
Yeah.
if I can ask you a question, Flip, don't you think this roster was built with the playoffs in mind, as opposed to the regular season? And I do understand in a very competitive Western Conference that you want to get off to a good start and at the very least maintain a top 6 seed in the conference, so as to avoid the play-in. I do voice I have your concerns as well, but to your point, with those additions, particularly John Collins, Brook Lopez, Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, when healthy, can still do some things, although he is closer to being washed than he is anything else at this point. But I just think, albeit an older roster, having a great coach in Ty Lue, having a great defensive coordinator in Jeff Van Gundy, don't you believe that once they make the playoffs, they could be a scary proposition, not only in the West, but for the entire NBA?
I absolutely do feel that way. It's only 10 games in, and, it takes a while for everyone to get adjusted as far as new teammates, everything else. And they definitely were constructed for the playoffs. But what I'm seeing right now, there's no 3-point shooting. Like you guys were talking earlier, Norman Powell was like their engine last year. So last year, for example, everyone thought the Clippers were going to be terrible. And then they started out, Jeff Van Gundy's defensive scheme, they started out hot. And everyone's like, oh, man, when Kawhi comes back, and this was without Kawhi because he didn't come back till January of last year. And then when he started going, like, he was on fire again, like the old Kawhi. And he started out the same way this season. But I don't know. I think the Norman Powell, that was a big loss because he was like a younger player to fit in there, and he took that scoring right over from Paul George, you know. But I think they're going to be okay. We are going to make the playoffs. We are going to be a top 6 seed. And last year when Denver took us out, like Phil was saying, like that was a, 7-game series. Aaron Gordon hit that shot. Could have gone either way. They're going to be tough. I just think give it some time. They'll work the kinks out, and top 6 seed, here we come.
I'm gonna call my shot right now, guys. They ain't making the top 6, and I don't think they're making the playoffs. You guys are all like, hey, when they make the playoffs, they'll be fine. They'll be dangerous. You have to actually make the playoffs to be dangerous in the playoffs. They look like at best, a play-in tournament team to me right now. But people love propping up the Clippers, man. I think is there some sort of like, all right, they're not the Lakers, they're the Clippers, so people kind of try to look out for them a little bit. Flip, I know you're a Clipper fan, but, for us non-Clipper fans, but there's so many people that, like, they want to look at the glass half full with the L.A. Clippers. And, look, man, Flip, I know they're your squad, and we appreciate you popping on here and chopping it up with the fellas, man. I just don't see it, man. I just do not see it. But top 6, okay, we'll see. So we have maybe like a gentleman's bet here, right? Because
Go ahead.
What's that? Say that again.
No, so we are the stepchild of the LA Lakers. So we are that redheaded stepchild that gets disrespected. No banners in the ring, covering up the Lakers banners when the Clippers had home games at the Staples Center. I mean, it's been a rough go. Like, we went from Donald Sterling, one of the worst owners, to one of the best owners, and now we have this little scandal this summer. I mean, it's been a rough go. It's been a rough go. That's why the Celtics, that's my other baby.
Well, speaking of the Celtics, yeah, go ahead.
Doc, go ahead.
Oh boy.
No, go ahead.
Well, does anybody know if Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, or it's over now?
I think that's gone now. Now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like Bradley Beal as a person. I like him as a talent, but something is up. I don't think he has the same drive. I don't think his body is right. And I don't know, man. I just feel like he's a piece that needs to be moved. Not sure where, but they're probably a trade away from making the playoffs and then being a problem for everybody.
Phil, but they've already made all their moves, man. I don't know if a trade is in the cards. And listen, with how difficult this luxury tax, salary cap, first and second apron stuff is going on, I think the Clippers did what they could. Lawrence Frank in particular tried to put together a roster in terms of depth to where he thought he can give his team a chance, in particular against Oklahoma City Thunder. And yes, they are an aging roster, as are the Golden State Warriors. But I think both those franchises are more concerned with how they do come playoff time. Now, yes, you have to have some success in the regular season to make the playoffs. I understand that. But once the Warriors and the Clippers make the playoffs, you can't convince me otherwise that they won't be a scary proposition for any team that they play come playoff time. They've got experience. They've got championship DNA. They've got terrific coaching staffs. And when you could put that type of roster into a playoff scenario, anything could happen. Anything.
Hey, Flip, let me ask you a question, because you're a big Celtics fan. I saw a video with Shaq, and he's calling Jaylen Brown now the Beijing Bandit. for the Beijing in his hair, and he's smearing it all over these other jerseys. Well, what are you thinking about your guy, JB? Is this a man law violation or what?
100%. I'm not sure what happened from like having like the semi, cornrows. I don't know if he had it braided back too long. Yeah, him and his barber need to. They need to stop because it's embarrassing. Just go for it. I mean, just got to go baldy. I don't know. Like he's young, but he got to go baldy.
Yeah, at least he has a beard. He's good.
He's still
right?
fighting the good fight. He ain't ready to come on home yet, as y'all say. He ain't ready to come home yet, man. He's still fighting that good fight and smearing Beijing all over the NBA. All right, Flip, thanks for dropping by, man. We appreciate you.
Let me just pose one question to you guys before I get off here. So my son said in retrospect, he said, would you have rather kept Shai Gilgeous-Alexander instead of getting Paul George? And I replied,
of course.
Yes, he had a great rookie. Hold on. He had a great rookie season, and we don't know how he would have developed in LA. But you guys tell me, as any GM, if Kawhi said, I'm only coming to LA if you get me Paul George, who's turning that down?
None of us.
You're right.
My point. I mean, you have to, like, what? You're shaking your head like you don't know about that, Rick.
Flip.
No, I agree. I'm just Paul George was injury prone before that trade, but I must admit, I would have done the trade. I would have done the trade.
He was third in MVP.
I can't sit here now and say the 5 years that they had together, they never played. Kawhi played half the games. George played half the games, which is true in the 5 years they were together. But I mean, nobody could have foreseen that level of unavailability. Yes, dang it, yes, I will admit that I would have done that trade and not be a revisionist historian here. I would have done the trade. Are you happy now?
Thank you.
No, listen, the reality is none of us knew that Shai was going to turn into this, right? And at the time, Paul George was one of the best small forwards in the association. So, of course, and if that's what it was going to take to get Kawhi Leonard to play for the Clippers, any GM would have made that deal. That's just the reality.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Flip, we appreciate you, man.
All right, fellas, good talking to you guys.
All right, Cuzzo.
All right, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, this is Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Rick Kamla, Dwight Walton, Dr. X. We'll get Brandon Armstrong back in a little bit. All right, guys, the big news today was the Dallas Mavericks, of course, letting go of Nico Harrison. If you're just joining us and you're kind of wondering, we all agree, all four of us, BDot, me, Dr. X, Dwight, we all agree that it was not fair to fire Nico. I think we all saw this coming, but just to get you, if you're kind of just joining us here, and we went into a bunch of reasons why. But the big news yesterday was the Giants letting go of Brian Daboll, the New York Football Giants. Okay, so was it fair to fire Daboll? The Giants let him go on Monday after the team blew another double-digit lead Sunday in Chicago. Giants co-owners John Mara and Steve Tisch said in a joint statement, the past few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing. Ouch. And we have not met our expectations for this franchise. We understand the frustrations of our fans and will work to deliver a significantly improved product. Good luck with that. Mike Kafka is going to take over as the interim. Daboll started out great, guys, right? 2022 Coach of the Year. They were 9-7-1, won a playoff game in Minnesota against the team I'm now divorced from, the choky Minnesota Vikings, okay? Of course they beat the Vikings. And by the way, I was free from the wreckage at that point. I was like, see, this is why. Last year, the Sam Darnold stuff. See, this is why. I'm divorced. I'm out. They can't hurt me anymore. So the Giants, 2-8 this year. Check this out, guys. They've won 2 of their first 10 games 3 straight years. They've been 2-8 3 straight years. That's insanity. 11-33 since the start of the 2023 season. Let's go around the room. Dr. X, you're in New York City. Was it fair for the Giants to fire Brian Daboll?
I think yes, but it's never going to be fair the way we want it to be fair. I think most people are saying the GM should have also been taking along for the ride as well. And I just feel like they're going to continue to have the issues they have because they're not fixing the problem. And I think the problem is a little higher up with the GM. And so I think they both should go, the GM and the coach, but they need to address that offensive line because you're just going to keep on getting injuries to your star players and players that actually are moving the needle for us here in New York until you get an offensive line. I'm not sure how they're supposed to address that, but obviously the GM didn't do a good job of doing that. And to Dayball's defense, the GM isn't giving him the players to be successful. So if you're going to fire the head coach, I think you got to fire the GM because you haven't enabled him to be successful.
Great takes, man. Let's go to Dwight Walton next on this. Was it fair for the Giants to fire Brian Daboll?
I'm not sure of the Giants' schedule. If somebody could tell me, do they have a bye week coming up? They must if they fire their coach this week. But Phil, I want to sort of clap back at you right now. When you say the general manager, talking about Joe Shane, and he, of course, he's next in line to get fired if there is going to be a shakeup once again in the front office. But he is the one that drafted Jackson Dart. He's the one that drafted Cam Scatterbo. He's the one that drafted Malik Neighbors, right? Now, two of those three players are currently injured, and I don't know. Cam and Malik are out for the season. Jackson Dart is on his fourth concussion this season. I think Jackson Dart I think Joe Shane, the GM, has done a pretty decent job of giving Coach Daboll the ingredients that are necessary to go forward in what somehow or somewhat of a rebuilding situation in New York. Yes, you can do a better job of finding players to be on the offensive line. Yes, you can do a better job of finding players for the overall scope of your roster. But Brian Daboll seemed to have escaped all of these situations over the past several seasons, and Rick laid out the records for you just a second ago. So if anybody was to get released, I believe Brian Daboll was the right choice. It is tough to fire a head coach in the National Football League during the season, but in this case, they had seen enough in terms of Brian Daboll. We can question whether or not he's the one calling the plays for Jackson Dart to come out of the pocket and to run and to scramble, which is one of his better assets early in his career. But it's also up to Jackson Dart to know how to go down, to slide, or to run out of bounds. Don't take the continuous hits that you've taken this season, which has accounted for the 4 concussions that you've accumulated so far this year. So Jackson Dart has to do a better job of getting out of his own way. But if anybody was to be scapegoated or to end this season, I think Brian Daboll was the right choice. No one deserves to get fired mid-season in the National Football League unless it truly is a train wreck. But in this case, if you're going to make a choice, I think Brian Daboll was the right choice.
All right. So I don't feel like this firing is like really fair. I'm certainly not upset about it. I'm not sideways, frustrated, disappointed. Like I kind of don't care, right? But the Giants fired Brian Daboll. I saw that. I was like, I mean, they've sucked for 3 years. Okay, this kind of makes sense. But when you really dig into it, right? I get the win-loss math. All right, we're 2-8 for the 3rd year in a row. Those are grounds for firing. Let's just call it what it is. They are. But when you contextualize, Dwight, I don't fully agree with you. I think Brian Daboll has largely had garbage to work with on the offensive side of the ball. No one, I don't know too many coaches that would have won with this lack of offensive talent. Let's break this down. This year, your quarterbacks have been Russell Wilson, who's virtually washed, and Jackson Dart, who's a rookie. Okay, you lose Neighbors, you lose Scatterbo for the season, and you mentioned the head injuries that Dart keeps picking up. And now, like, I don't even know who their starting running back is. Is it Singletary? Is it Tracy? I've moved on with my fantasy life. It's a barren wasteland. Okay, I don't want Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't want Darius. I don't want any of these guys on my fantasy team. Okay, let's go back to 2024. Daniel Jones and Drew Lock, and they were both pitiful last year. Absolutely terrible. Okay, Malik Neighbors did have a big year, 100+ grabs, got the league talking, blah blah blah, and he is a terrific player. Your backs last year were Tracy and Singletary. They're back to that right now. 2023, your quarterbacks were Daniel Jones, who remember, not good, okay? He's killing it right now with the Colts. He stunk his last 2 years with the Giants. So 2023, you had the 3-pack of quarterbacks named Jones, DeVito, and Taylor, okay? It's not a law firm. It's a collection of pretty lousy quarterbacks. You had a down year from Saquon Barkley that year. Wan'Dale Robinson led the team with 60 grabs. It's one of the worst offenses in league history if your main receiver has 60 catches to lead the team. That's frighteningly bad. So I get it. I'm not mad about it. Brian Daboll will have another job as an OC next year. Probably get back with the coaches network and all the guys he used to work for. Blah blah blah. I don't know. But I'm okay with it, but it's not really fair because Brian Daboll's an offensive coach, and he's been really successful at other stops, right? And then you come here and you really never had a full crew all together, all humming at the same time, and now they blow you out. So it's circumstantial. I'm not mad about it, but it's a little bit unfair. Guys, let's move on here to a little MVP conversation with the National Football League. And Dwight Walton, you first. Is Jonathan Taylor the MVP of the NFL right now? He ran for 244 yards and 3 touchdowns on Sunday. He's the leading rusher in the league, and I'll stop there. Is he the MVP to you right now, Dwight?
Running backs don't win the award, Rick. If Saquon Barkley didn't win it last year, Jonathan Taylor won't win it this year. Is he the MVP this year so far? Most definitely, because he has turned Daniel Jones into a competent National Football League quarterback. Daniel Jones is very good. He has to deliver and execute the game plan that Coach Steichen has put out there for the Colts. So I understand how important the quarterback position is. But if Jonathan Taylor wasn't having the season that he's having currently for the Colts, I'm not sure we'd be seeing Daniel Jones having the success that he is right now. So do I think Taylor's the MVP? Yes, I do. But the reality is running backs don't win the award. It's a quarterback-driven award. It hasn't been one since Adrian Peterson did it with your Minnesota Vikings, Rick. So, again, for me, he is not anymore. That's true. Right? You're right. He is the most valuable player as far as I'm concerned. But with all the talk behind Drake May, Matthew Stafford, the resurgence of Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, anybody else in there, you name it, it's a quarterback-driven award. Again, for my money, Jonathan Taylor is the most valuable player. But running backs normally don't win this award.
Dr. X, is Jonathan Taylor the MVP of the NFL right now?
I say he should be. I think we gotta get beyond, what is not expected and just look at who's performing and who deserves it. And if he's performing at that level, 200 yards recently and just killing it throughout the season, Saquon Barkley should be also considered from last year. But I think for the most part, it's mostly quarterbacks that get the MVP. My question would be, who do you guys think who do you think the NFL will choose? And then we should probably compare those two. No quarterback comes to my mind as like having like a perfect, season like we saw with Josh Allen. Not perfect, but that's how he played consistently. And then previously before that, Lamar Jackson, and obviously Patty Mahomes. But I mean, who are the top 5 candidates, Rick?
So let's run this down. Perfect setup right there, Doc. You're good at this thing, man. I'll give you my top 5 for MVP. In just a moment here. I wanna kind of go back to what Dwight was saying. He's right. It's a quarterback award, usually like a Christian McCaffrey or a Randy Moss or a Justin Jefferson, right? With these unbelievable seasons, can win the offensive player of the year, but they typically don't win the MVP. That's been going on for a long, long time. For me, the only way a running back or a wide receiver is going to get my vote. Now, if it's a lame year for quarterbacks and there's just not a lot of great stats at the quarterback position, which pretty much never happens, then I could be a little bit more open and optional with this. But if you got a quarterback who's just destroying the league, and then you got a running back who's at less than 2,000 yards, I'm going with the QB. It's the most difficult position to play in all of sports. And if you are humming at that position, you're doing more than even a running back, in my opinion, that is having a beyond phenomenal year. And I'm not saying Daniel Jones is doing more than Jonathan Taylor. Taylor is the MVP of that team. I'm saying that there are other quarterbacks around the league that I feel are doing more for their teams than Jonathan Taylor. But it does come down to a stat. Jonathan Taylor, in 2,000 yards is that stat. And boy, last year was tough, man. Dude, you guys, Lamar Jackson had a TD to INT ratio of 40-4 last year and did not win MVP. Saquon had 2,000 yards, and it doesn't matter, right? But for context, it sounds kind of cool. 2,000 yards in a Super Bowl winning season. He did not win MVP. And Josh Allen was absolutely spectacular last year, and he won MVP. That was a tough one. You had 3 dudes that easily could have won that award. Jonathan Taylor's on pace for 1,936 yards. So he can definitely get $2,000. And depending on what the other quarterbacks are doing, then I may vote for Jonathan Taylor. So it's just a huge stat for me. But here's my top 5, Doc, to your question. Matt Stafford is number 1, and it's close. I'm not going to say it's by a landslide or anything. He's 4th in passing yards. He is 1st in touchdown passes. 25-2 is his touchdown to interception ratio, and he's 3rd in rating at 114.8. Drake May, I have number 2. He is 3rd in passing yards. He's got a 19-5 TD to INT ratio. He's 3rd in touchdown passes, and he is 5th in rating. 3rd, I have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I don't have his stats computed from last night. This was going into last night's game. The passing yards is small, right? But he had a 15-1 TD to INT ratio going into last night. He was 5th in passer rating going into last night. And he also had 5 rushing scores with 207 yards, again, going into last night. And they're now 7-2 with last night's win. He's 3rd. Jared Goff is 4th. And some of you may be, turning up your nose, that's fine. Jared Goff is quietly having a spectacular season. He's 8th in passing yards. He's 2nd in touchdown throws, 20-3 TD to INT ratio. Jared Goff leads the NFL in passer rating at 117.7, and his team has a marvelous record. And then I have Justin Herbert at 5, 2nd in the league in passing yards, 3rd in the league in touchdowns with 19, and his rating kind of falls off a little bit. You could grab my elbow and say, put Taylor at 5, and I could put Taylor at 5 over Justin Herbert because he's been a little dirty this year. There have been some picks. I'm actually going to make a change on the fly here, Doc. I'm going to put Taylor at 5. Herbert now falls off. I got Stafford, May, Hurts, Goff, and Jonathan Taylor. That is my top 5. So as we sit here right now, it's the Matt Stafford thing, guys, is really, really fun. Because it was starting to look like with injuries and like the Rams may want to start planning for the future. And Matt Stafford's like, I'm 37. I'm in whatever it is, the 17th year or whatever it is. And he's the best quarterback in the league right now. BDot, is Jonathan Taylor your MVP of the National Football League right now?
I'm taking Jonathan Taylor just because no quarterback is having, like you said, a crazy dominant season. I mean, Drake May, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's cool and all, but you mentioned that Lamar Jackson stat last year. It was Lamar should have won hands down. They gave it to Josh Allen. I think it's just like you said, it's a quarterback club. It's the castle of popularity. The narrative. I think he should win. He's changing games. He's moving the team. He's doing the dirt work. And the obstacle is it's a quarterback club. Like I said, it's tough. He's making Daniel Jones look great. Looking, I don't want to say like a young Peyton Manning, but shoot, a developed Andrew Luck. You feel me? So I honestly think he should win. I think he has 15 touchdowns. Through the 10 games. Yeah, give it to Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I understand the Saquon Barkley take. I mean, his team was stacked. He had a great team last year, and no one. I don't think anybody had the Indianapolis Colts performing the way they are this year. And he's doing his dang thing. And shout out to Drake May. Completing over 70% of his passes. I think he will win it because of the classic quarterback privilege, and they get all the love, and they love the emergent stories of the New England Patriots organization, former player become coach, and he's pushing that team to what they're 9-2, 8-2, and they're looking good. Just came off a win this past year. Stephen Diggs has a baby from a popular rap artist coming along. He's kissing the stomach before the game and scores 2 touchdowns in the past 2 games. So the storyline is there for the Patriots, but I'm rooting for Jonathan Taylor. He's gonna go get them 2,000 yards and go clinch that playoff spot with those Indianapolis Colts. So my vote is for Jonathan Taylor, just because I'm getting tired of this quarterback club stuff. If it ain't Lamar, I ain't rocking with it.
Hey,
we got 3 Taylors and 1 Stafford over here, and the more I listen to you guys, I'm probably gonna get with the program here. But we got what 5, 6, 7 games left, and again, like Stafford's looking pretty mega here, man. 25-2 is just ridiculous. So, but we got a few games to go, and we'll see how that goes. All right. I'm going to go to BDot first on this. BDot, I think I'm going to set you up pretty well here for some comedy, okay? I want to go around the room and ask, what the heck is up with the Bills? How do you go to Miami and get throttled 30-13 or whatever that was? And Jaden Waddle's doing his thing, and H.N. is running long touchdowns, and Tua Tagovailoa look like a quarterback, okay? 30-13. Okay. So what's up with the Buffalo Bills? I believe that they succumb to the South Beach flu on Sunday. Games in Miami. They probably arrive either like Friday night or sometime Saturday. They got a night to go kick it in Miami. It's my favorite city in America. I would love to go kick it at like Space Nightclub I love Space Nightclub. All right, so the South Beach flu got the Buffalo Bills, I believe, last weekend. Let's go back to their other bad loss this year. Oh, it was at Atlanta, another major party spot. I love partying in Atlanta. BDot's from there. I lived there 11 years. We call it the Buckhead flu. Okay, an NBA team will come in and play the Hawks. They'll get in on a Tuesday. The game's on Wednesday. Buckhead flu. They stink the next night. The Hawks beat them by 21. Okay, so I think BDot and Dwight and Doc, the Bills like to party before road games against sub 500 teams. That's the best theory I got here for what's up with the Bills.
Hey man, it's not much to do in Buffalo. You feel me? So when you get an opportunity with the young guys like they have, Keon Coleman, I forgot my other guy that got the crazy accent. When they get in these cities, man, they trying to live it up. Let's go back to when you want to speak about the South Beach flu. Let's go back to when Odell Beckham took them boys on that boat in Miami.
Yeah.
The Giants ain't been right since. If you look at those guys in those pictures, and Odell is my brother, none of those guys have done anything since that picture, including Trey Songz. You feel me? So the Buffalo Bills, they look like they was out there playing on rookie mode, okay, with the controller unplugged against the Dolphins, all right? You feel me? Like, that shouldn't have been such a landslide of a win. But, I mean, Then again, we even said if Josh Allen played against his defense, he would have scored 15. He would have scored 15 touchdowns in the game. It's like they really believe Josh Allen is Superman, and just throwing up prayers and hoping that Josh Allen can get it done. When all in all, it's a team game, and yeah, Buffalo they just not looking like the team that we thought they were going to be. The defense is terrible. Josh Allen is trying to do whatever he can to keep the team above float. And yeah, man, South Beach, trust me, I done had my fair share out in Miami. I done had some good times. I'm not gonna lie. Let's quick story. Last time I was at Miami, I was supposed to do I was doing a 3-on-3 for Mountain Dew. And all our events was in the morning. My hotel was literally right across the street from the event. It was outside. All I had to do was walk 2 steps, a crip walk, and I would be there. I was out with Sidney Rice. I don't know if you guys remember Sidney Rice.
Yeah.
Hell of a wide receiver. I was out
Absolutely.
with Sidney Rice till
He was a Minnesota
7:38 in the
Viking.
morning. Yes, I know you remember, Rick. We was out till 7:38 in the morning. We left a spot called 11. It's a 24-hour club. I walk out. It is daytime. I go in there. It was nighttime. I got to be at this event at 8:15. Man, look, let's just say I missed it. Let's just say I'm literally across the street from it. I missed the event. I told my manager that I had to fly back to Atlanta on an emergency flight for a family emergency. For a family emergency. So look, man, that Miami South Beach flu, it is very true. Okay, so I would give the Bills a pass on this one. And we know about Atlanta. Come on, Lou Will, lemon pepper Lou. You know, Magic City. You see how bad they lost. So yeah, man. All we can do is pray for the Bills and hopefully they get it done because it ain't looking too good. I don't know who they play next, but let's pray it's not Houston. You feel me? Let's play nobody in Houston. Let's play nobody in LA.
Let's see what their next game is. New York City's a heck of a party spot too. Their next game is back at home against Tampa. Then they'll probably win that game, right? As BDot said, not. I don't want to like crush Buffalo for our audience members that live up there. I've actually never been there, so I'm just going to not comment on it. If I haven't been to a place, I can't. It's this or it's that. I've literally never been to Buffalo. So what, Dwight and Doc, you guys got a theory here on the Bills, or me and BDot onto something here?
I totally agree with your theory, Rick, with the flu, South Beach flu, and I just think it's but you gotta win these games, but ultimately you think there's enough people that will hold it down, and it's a team effort, so there's still no excuses. They should have won that game, and that kind of puts into question how ready are the Buffalo Bills to make it out of the AFC.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, I don't think Phil been to Miami like we did. Tough, man.
The Bills look really vulnerable, guys. I'm not the top. Go ahead, Dwight. Sorry.
No, that's where I was going. I just don't think. Listen, the Bills are still 6-3. They have a couple of bad losses. Yes, understandable. But I just think, listen, they've got a great running back in James Cook, great quarterback in Josh Allen. They are missing some pieces on the defensive side due to injury, and I still think they're searching for that number one receiver. Ever since Stephon Diggs left the Bills, they truly haven't filled that spot. Yes, they've done it by committee. They had success last year. Still couldn't get by Patrick Mahomes, but they had some success last year. They're having success this season. I think they've recently signed Micheal Hardman as a wide receiver. I believe they tried to trade for Jalen Waddle at last week's trade deadline. The deal didn't materialize. And that just tells you that Sean McDermott, head coach of the Bills, and their front office, they know that they needed to get Josh Allen a target that can stretch the defense and make James Cook even more effective than he is right now. So, again, it's a bad loss. You could talk about the South Beach flu. You could talk about the Buckhead flu. Yes, athletes love to party. We all did it. I did it when I was playing. It's a great time. but we're also very smart in how to handle that situation as well. So we can give the Bills as many excuses as they want, but the reality is they're missing pieces on the defensive side. Josh Allen needs a top-tier elite wide receiver to enable James Cook to be even better than he is. And the reality is they just don't look as good, as dominant as they were last season. Now, once the playoff comes, maybe things can change. But the Buffalo Bills should do everything in their power to try and have the best record in the AFC, because nobody wants to play in Buffalo in mid to late January for a playoff game. The elements will just favor Buffalo. The snow, the cold, the wind that's coming off of Niagara Falls. It all encapsulates home field advantage for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills got to get themselves right if they want to have home games come playoff time in January.
Let's fast forward. Let's look into a little globe right now. The way these teams are playing right now, I know you said the Bills are 6-3. The Chiefs versus the Bills, January, AFC Championship game. Who you guys got? Who do you guys have right now? Who do you guys have winning that game with this roster and the way they're playing right now with the Bills with those two bad losses? And the way Kansas City Chiefs are playing. You got the Chiefs? Oh, okay.
I'm Chiefs as well.
Chiefs.
Yeah, we know how this goes, man. Allen always gets Mahomes in the regular season. Mahomes always gets Allen in the playoffs, and there's like very little interruption to that pattern. And it could blow up this year, and Allen finally beats Mahomes. Heck, they might not even play it. But right now, I would take the Chiefs. They got those guys. They got those goats, man. You got Mahomes. You got Kelsey. Of course, Andy Reid. I love Spagnuolo blitzing on every crucial third down for the other team. They're not the team that they were maybe a couple of years ago, but I would take the Chiefs. Are you guys ready to go roundtable with some rants here before we sign off and thank our great audience? You guys ready to rant a little bit?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Let me get into this. Bradley Beal. I told you earlier in the show that we were going to circle back to this. Okay. Bradley Beal, in an Athletic or New York Times article, said this, that the Suns didn't allow him to be that guy. Quote, "When you allow me to be that guy, I'll be that. But when you have two coaches that want you to set screens and play in the dunker, you're not Brad Beal, you're somebody else. When's the last time I shot 14 shots for the Suns?" I do understand some of the points he's making here. However, Bradley Beal is one of the elite game missers in the NBA right now. Did you guys know that this year he's averaging 8.2 points in 20.2 minutes with shooting splits that read 37, 36, 75? You literally can't play worse than Bradley Beal is playing right now. You can't. That's why he's playing 20 minutes a game as a starter, because Ty Lue's like, yeah, come on, it ain't working. You're not helping the team right now. So what's going to be the excuse or rationalization this time? And to help me with today's rant, I want to hit up the time machine, go back a year or two to Pat Riley's gangster remarks to Jimmy Butler when Jimmy Butler was at the tequila tasting or whatever, some event, and the viral video, season's over, all right? And he said, if I was playing Boston, Boston would be at home. And New York, I am bleeping sure, would be at home. And so I want to bring in Pat Riley right now to help. Take a listen.
For him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut. And your criticism of those.
So I kind of feel that way about Bradley Beal. Like, you play 40 games a year and you're still talking about being that guy. And look, I want Bradley Beal to get healthier. I want all these guys to get healthier, but I'm also not feeling an urgency to play. I mean, it's been several years. Guys, you got to go back 5 years for the last time Bradley Beal was that guy. 5 years, not 2 years. 5. The last 6 years, here is his attendance: 53, 53, 50, 40, 60, 57. I think only LaMelo Ball and Paul George have been worse than that over the last 6 years. So that's my rant. Obviously, the Clippers, it's looking very, 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 very brutal that you give up Norman Powell, you bring in Bradley Beal. That transaction is a disaster of a catastrophe right now for this team. I got love for Brad Beal, guys, but you're still talking about being that guy, yet you haven't been that guy for 5 years, and you barely ever play in the game. So I just don't understand it, and it's falling on deaf ears over here. So that's my rant, guys. Let's go around the room. Who's next?
Let's go clockwise. I'm ready. Well, I agree with you, Rick. I totally agree with you. But my rant is gonna be about John Morant. I didn't mean to do that, but I think I almost had a bar, right, BDot? But yeah, John Morant in the Garden tonight. In the Garden tonight. Last year was very disappointing. He looked like he didn't want to be there. He was just like, going through the motions, act like he was too cool for school, just like one of those AAU kids, chilling on the layup line, not giving it his all. Just like, how they do BDot. You know those videos you do when you go on the layup line, the guy trying to be too cool, just going
You're too
through,
cool, yeah.
just going through the motions. Yeah, yeah. So he did that Madison Square Garden. We all were just like everybody came in there to see a really good game. I wasn't even at that game, but I just remembered it was a disappointment, and I thought it was only me that noticed it. And then the next day, they were like, people still bring up that game, like how he just really played subpar, and just looked like he mentally checked out. And there was really no reason for him to do that. It just, I guess because he knew it was Madison Square Garden, and everybody was expecting him to have a big game, and when his team wasn't playing well, he kind of just checked out. So I'm really hoping that I'm gonna walk over there tonight, and hopefully, they play well. I hope that even if they don't win, I hope that he brings it. I hope he brings that fire. And I think he's trying, but he just can't hit a shot. So I don't know what that looks like for him. If he's having a bad shooting game, it still look like he's still engaged. But I hope he plays well and has one of those Madison Square Garden games, and the Knicks win.
I was waiting on that part. I was waiting on that part.
Of course.
All right, who's up next? BDot or Dwight?
Let me take it away, Dwight. How you feeling?
All right, I'll go. I'm basically going to regurgitate what I said at the top of the show, fellas. I am very disappointed with Patrick Dumont, the Adelson Group, and the front office in the Dallas Mavericks. Nico Harrison was left out to dry by this franchise, and I am happy today for him because he's out of a situation that he didn't deserve. It's sports at the end of the day. I understand that fans is short for fanatics. I understand that part of it as well. And they're allowed to have their opinion as the media has their opinion as well. But I have a major problem when you're told by your bosses, again, in my opinion, to do something. You do it, and then you're left out hanging to dry because of the decision you made based on what your bosses told you. I am a firm believer that Adelson and Dumont told Nico Harrison to trade Luka Doncic because the new ownership group did not want to pay an overweight at the time Luka Doncic $70 million, which he was eligible for to sign the Supermax before leaving the Mavericks. They didn't want to pay him $70 million when he was 30 years old because in their mind, they figure that he was going to be a diminishing return. And that still may be the case 4 years from now. But right now, Luka Doncic just looks like he's lost 30 pounds, is back to being a young, athletic Luka Doncic, as witnessed by his drive down the lane, two-handed dunk over the whole Hornets team last night in a win over the Hornets. So, of course, it looks like an awful trade, and it is an awful trade. But my rant, again, I am disappointed with the Mavericks and their franchise because you scapegoated a man who was simply following instruction. And to have 24-hour security around you and around him and his family, to hear fire Nico chants up until their last game, enough is enough. I am happy for Nico Harrison today because he gets to now just exhale. And if I'm him, I take his family on a well-deserved vacation. Get out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area for now and just enjoy your life. And you're going to be stress-free now, and hopefully you'll get another chance to build a team in the NBA. I'm happy for you, Nico Harrison, but I'm majorly disappointed in the Dallas Mavericks organization as a whole.
I'm going to be feeling some kind of way if Mavericks fans don't start chanting "Fire Dumont." It's got the same flow as Nico. It's a 2-syllable word. Look at that guy right there. Let's get some chants on that guy. Are you serious right now? Look at that guy. Come on, man. Fire Nico, fire Nico. Okay, he got fired. Now what you gonna do? You still don't have Luka. You still got Anthony Davis, who seemingly swells by the day. I just saw another picture of him. He does not look like he is in any kind of shape at all. None. Okay, he's already hurt, for crying out loud. I'm going to be feeling Dallas. I'm calling you out right now. I need fire Dumont. I need that. Okay. Otherwise, just leave it at that. I mean, you can't just bang on Nico. He gets fired, and then we're good now. Yeah. What are they? 3-8 on the road? To the lottery again. And we know that they want more down there. Fire Dumont chants should begin in Dallas. BDot with the dot on this show. The final word goes to you, my friend.
All right, man. Let me holler at the people real quick. Since I'm wearing a New York hat, let me go ahead and turn my New York hat to the side, CC Sabathia style, because I'm about to close this out. All right. Look, man. I'm watching these athletes, and I'm convinced half of them is allergic to effort. Okay. Dudes jogging on defense like they're running errands. Okay. Quarterbacks throwing passes like they trying to hit somebody in the crowd. And the NBA players, load managing. It's November, like they got PTO stacked up from last season, okay? And don't get me started on Jerry Jones, okay? Lord have mercy. Jerry treat the Cowboys like it's his fantasy team. And he the only one with the password. My man up there in the press box looking like he about to call his own timeout, okay? You can't keep calling y'all America's team when y'all ain't even Texas team right now, player. And don't get me started on the Sacramento Kings, okay? Every offseason they talking about rebuilding. Bro, y'all been rebuilding since Obama was in office, okay? They've been rebuilding so long, they done built the damn Home Depot next to the arena. Every year is the same talk. We looking for trades. We looking for pieces. Nah, you looking for hope, man. Look, I love this game, okay? But if you gonna talk dynasty, play dynasty. Have these teams talking playoffs and playing like they in pickup league at Planet Fitness. I said what I said. Cut the lights. Dot out. That's my rant.
I love it.
Drop the mic. We're out, folks. Woo, this has been a heck of a show, man. Again, shout out to the troops. It's Veterans Day. We're thinking of you. We love you. Thank you for the sacrifice and the service. Those who have served, those who are, and those who will. We love y'all. We have you very much in our thoughts today and a lot of other days as well. We really appreciate you guys. For Dr. X, a.k.a. Dr. Phil McDonald, for Dwight Walton, for Brandon Armstrong, a.k.a. BDot, I'm Rick Kamla. Also, huge shout-out to our guys behind the glass, producer Jason and our technical director Kai as well. They do phenomenal work, and we love you all. We will see you again Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have AM Pfeffer back in the mix with us. Dennis has got a lot of stuff going on with the ACC Network. Hopefully, we can get Dennis dialed in for Friday, but we will see you then again, 2 o'clock Eastern on Friday with Beyond the Surface right here on the X-Rated Sports Network.